I'm back. Back again. Guys, I'm so excited to bring you a great guest today. He's Zach Clapp from the Claptrap Podcast. All sports, all day. Before I get to that, just a couple updates and things that are going on here at Pilgrim's Digress. I got a special request from everybody. I had a little hiatus this summer, and I took another month or so off. I'm going to start getting into a 2-week rhythm, but I really want to make a good comeback. So if you could, I need you to get on. Next time you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you see me, you're scrolling by, you see Pilgrim's Digress. You know what? I really need to hit that like and share button. Trying to get my social media going again, and I'll be sure to be posting all kinds of fun things that I'm doing on that too. So just give me a quick share to any of your friends on social media or even in real life. I'll take that as well. So I'm going to post a clip of this episode tomorrow as well. So go ahead and check that out. If you see the wonderful logo of Pilgrim's Digress, the Pilgrim talking, then give it a quick share. So like I said, I'm going to a 2-week schedule. The summer was easy to do 1 week. I just couldn't get, I had to space people out at some point. I had 2 or 3 shows in my pocket all the time. But now things are getting a little busy with school, with work, with the fam. And I'm hoping to get to a 2-week schedule. I've got a couple guests lined up already, and I'm excited about those. So another thing that's keeping me busy is I've got a brand new podcast. It's just simply about teaching. You'll notice that in my list back there, there's 2 teacher podcasts. It's me and another teacher just talking about education. That went so well that I'm going to start a mini podcast, I call it, or a micro cast. It's just me. I might be in my car or at home, just talking about what happened during the day at school. Some funny stuff, some crazy stuff. So check that out. The name of that podcast, it's on iTunes and Spotify. It is called Professional Envelopment. I'll say it again. Don't let it be confused with professional development. No. It is professional envelopment. You know, because it envelops your life. Teaching. I do it for the kids. All right. So, on to our guest. Zach Clapp is from the Claptrap Podcast, and he says he names it that way because he just can't shut his trap about sports. And this guy is all Boston and New England sports all the time. You're going to want to give him a listen over at his show. He's on all the podcast things. He especially goes through SoundCloud. This guy is my first real sports guest, and I'm really excited. Remember when Facebook started and asked you what your interests were? 2004. I'm old. I said books and sports, but not at the same time, because that would be dangerous. So I love sports. I love talking about sports, and I'll explain exactly what I think about talking about sports is towards the end of this show with Zach. So this guy knows everything New England fandom. Baseball, basketball. His big thing is hockey, which is great for me because I'm just like, was that offsides? I don't know. Icing. Where's the cake? So I'm gonna try to hang with him when it comes to hockey, but I think I held up pretty good with the Celtics and Pats talk. So feel free to laugh at me if I'm just utterly wrong, or if you disagree. He's gonna give his take on the Antonio Clown situation that happened recently, and some predictions coming up for each one of the seasons. His show is great. It's not corporatized. It's not ESPN Presents or, Sports Illustrated Podcast or, shock jock, stuff on the radio. He's just right and to the point. He's got great takes on every sport. He talks a little bit about the betting scene as well. So go give him a listen over at the Claptrap Podcast. He's also on Twitter, and he'll share all of his social media and contact things at the end of our conversation. So when you listen how enthusiastic, how dedicated he is to talking through and thinking about and just loving on all of our New England sports teams. He knows his stuff. He loves his teams, and it was an absolute joy. It was so much fun talking to him, and I told him I wanted him back at least come football playoff season, and probably again at the start of the basketball season. So enjoy Zach Clapp from the Claptrap podcast and have a great week or two. I got a couple good guests coming up. I got another beer guest, and I'm excited about that as well. It's not beer. The guest is not beer, but it is a person who has to do with beer. All right, have a good one, guys. Here's Zach. All right, welcome back to Pilgrim's Digress. I'm here with Zach Clapp from the Claptrap podcast. He talks all things New England sports. When I found this podcast, I was very excited because it's not the local radio station doing their stuff, and it's not ESPN podcast, feed the monster. We got another local guy here talking local sports, and I'm going to try to hang with him best I can. And we're just going to run through all the teams. We're going to talk a little bit about podcasting, and most importantly, in my heart, we're going to talk about New England. How you doing, Zach?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm awesome.
Yes.
I'm ready to get going about the greatest region of sports in America.
That's what I'm talking about. I like it. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
All right, Zach, I like to start off with a set of questions just about New England, and I kind of end it that way. But you're a local guy, so in generally, what is your relationship with New England?
Well, lived here all my life. Lived around the Plymouth area, actually, in the Plymouth County. I actually lived in Plymouth, downtown Plymouth, for the last 5 or 6 years before I recently moved. I was right down the street from that ridiculous rock that they have set up and everything that all the tourists go to and all that goofy stuff. So I got to deal with all that nonsense. But I lived here on the South Shore for all my life. That's really been my experience around here, is just all the nonsensical tourists that come in to see the Pebble, and then the rest of the boats and all the other cool stuff that we got.
Yeah, when I moved up here, I was really excited because I'm a history guy, history teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm going to go see Plymouth Rock. And not from New England. I went and saw it, and I was like, oh, that's it.
Oh, that's it. Yeah,
I always thought it was like as tall as a dude, but it was just like, there it is.
Yep, it's always funny to see like the bus loads of people come up, pop off. They're all excited, and then they just kind of look over the railing, and they're like, "Oh, all right, that's all we got. Cool."
I've yet to be to the little town and stuff, but I don't know if I'm missing much. So, Zach, what did you do as a kid that other people away from New England might not have been able to do?
Definitely big on hockey, pond hockey, all that kind of stuff. I was a hockey player growing up, played all the way through high school till I had I was a little injury prone, unfortunately, and wasn't able to continue my career. But being able to, grow up around all the winter sports and being able to get outside and do that kind of stuff was always a good time for me. Big pond hockey guy myself. So that was something that you get around this area that you don't really get around the rest of the country usually.
For sure. People are serious about even the kids' hockey stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's big time. We got
ice time. Suit up.
It is big time.
4 a.m.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Zach, what is your favorite thing about New England?
I used to say the change in seasons, how the fact that we get all the different seasons, but in all honesty, over these last couple of years, I've been really annoyed by winter and whatnot. I know we're supposed to be tough New Englanders and we can handle all that stuff, but when you keep dumping snow on me left and right, I'm not a big fan of that usually.
Yeah, what's interesting about snow is that I live in Central Mass, and it's always like one of us is getting the big snow.
Yep.
Either we get the huge snow off the Great Lakes, or you guys get the nor'easter.
Yeah, and it's always ridiculous over here, right by the ocean and everything. Especially, like I said, when I was living like right downtown Plymouth, I was right next to the ocean, and the winds and everything that you get there, the ridiculous amounts of ice and everything on the road. So it's a little too much. I would say I probably enjoyed the seasons more when I wasn't, I guess, an adult. And then once you become an adult, then you're like, screw this. I'm not really trying to deal with all this nonsense all the time.
I know. All right. Well, how did you come around to be a fan of New England sports, or what's your best childhood memory about New England sports?
It was big from when I was like really young. My dad's always been a huge Celtics fan. And then he would bring me to like Red Sox games and everything like that. Like I said, I was a hockey player. I got into that. My grandfather, on my mom's side, was big hockey coach, just like you were saying there. We're all about the, oh man, yeah, ice time and get it going. And so I got into it at kind of a young age. And so it was really kind of like a family thing getting into it there. But yeah, my dad, big Celtics fan. I played baseball a lot when I was younger because that was kind of the thing to do. And that just kind of playing the sports, being active and things like that. Then you just want to follow the bigger teams, the guys that can actually do it correctly and not like, the little kids that can't really actually play the sport. So that's probably where it came from.
Who were your favorite players back in the day?
Well, like I said, big hockey guy. So immediate favorite is the captain, Ray Bourque. I would say he is my all-time favorite. I have a signed jersey, signed puck, signed hockey card, everything. I got a hat too. So I loved him growing up. I was a defenseman playing, so that was just my position, and I always wanted to be like that, emulate his style of game, being able to play both offense and defense. It was amazing. He was the epitome of like a perfect player on all different types of levels, I would say there. So probably him. That would be my earliest memory of like a favorite player, I would say, and then it kind of grew with other sports and everything from there. But that would be my first one, I would definitely say. The captain.
The captain. Is that what they call him? I'm new.
Oh, yeah. Number 77 there, Ray Bourque, the captain. He was the man. It was upsetting to see him have to leave, but I'm glad that he ended up getting his Stanley Cup with the Avalanche there. I know a lot of fans they have little mixed emotions on that. Some fans threw him like a parade here. I don't know if they threw a parade in Boston when he won a Stanley Cup for him. That was a little sad on our side, I would say. But then, some fans say he's like a traitor almost for going over there, which I say that's ridiculous. I mean, let the man, he did so much for us. Let the man go get a championship. He deserved it.
Yeah, really.
That kind of thing.
All right. Well, let's get into it. I kind of put this in order of things that I know.
Yeah.
Where's my Celtics stuff? Oh, there it is. So let's get after it, man. I was, I did not follow the Red Sox this year. I usually follow hardcore.
Yeah.
But I looked at their record about 3/4 of the way, like around more All-Star game. And I was like, well,
yeah,
maybe I can save myself some time.
Yeah, no, it was a tough season to watch for sure.
I mean, we won the series last year, but it's not even playoffs, huh?
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where you got that championship hangover. Obviously, you got a lot of guys that it seemed like, okay, last year they proved themselves. You got your David Prices of the world and those guys who were just like, oh, okay, I already did it. So like, it almost felt like, why even show up this year? Like, we already did that, which is a ridiculous thing, a ridiculous attitude to have. But that seemed to be the way they were going at the beginning of the year for sure.
Yeah. I can't even remember the last time. It was the Yankees are the last guys who repeated, right?
You might actually be right on that. I'm not 100% sure on the last team to repeat. I would have to go back and look at that one. That's a tough one.
We're due for a Tampa Bay win soon.
Ooh, yeah, and then they can blow it up and repeat the process. Yeah, they're good for that every like 8 years, I'd say, something like that.
Oh yeah. Where are you at on Mookie or JD?
Well, I mean, it's tough when it comes to Mookie. Obviously, that's like a once-in-a-generation type of player, the kind of guy who can go hit 30 home runs, but then also steal 30 bases and hit 300, and then also be a Gold Glove defensive player. Like, that doesn't come around a lot. You're not going to see that.
Very Mickey Mantle of him.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to get – so it's very hard to say, like, the right thing to do is to trade him. Like, that sounds crazy, right? But then at the end of the day, are you looking to pay him $400 million? I don't know if that's the good move there with him. I just feel like at this point, you're coming off of a championship. Obviously, it's time to kind of retool the farm system and get it going through there. So, unfortunately, I think that it's best to move on, try and trade him, get a lot of prospects in the system after Dombrowski destroyed our farm system, so let's retool, I guess, would be the best way, even though it's going to suck. It's going to suck seeing him in another uniform and dominating, because he's going to be an amazing player for a long time. Sure. And that's going to suck, but it might be time to move on, unfortunately.
Oh man. My show is it's for New Englanders, also for people who aren't from New England. I have a minority of people not from New England. So tell me about Fenway. There's a lot of lore and history behind that. Have you been to Fenway, or what's it like there?
Yeah, I mean, I've been there. I think I want to say I've been to at least probably over 20 games. I would say in my lifetime. Just from different times of the season and everything like that. It's an amazing ballpark. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's the most iconic ballpark that I can think of. I would say most people would probably think of that, just the Green Monster alone, right there. I mean, you got like Wrigley Field for the Cubs and stuff like that. That's a lot of history, but still, no field has the dimensions like Fenway Park. The wall that we have, all that. It's really nice, but I also think that ever since winning championships, the atmosphere has gone from more of a diehard fan base to a, hey, let's bring the family and go and, get a hot dog and we'll get a nice little, souvenir or something and have a nice time. We don't really care if they win or lose, but like, let's go enjoy the atmosphere. So I think that's kind of how it's changed over time, which me as a diehard sports fan, I don't like that. I understand it. Especially now that we've gone to the point where it was 86 years and then you win four championships within 15 years. That's pretty ridiculous, but now it just seems to be more of the like, yeah, let's get the kids, let's go get a drink and a $30 beer and the $20 hot dog and go.
Who are they playing again? Who is that?
Yeah, exactly. And and Sweet Caroline, we got to be able to sing Sweet Caroline in the seventh inning and all that. So that seems to be the atmosphere now. Let's go buy a brick at Fenway and have a good time.
Yeah, touristy these days.
Very, unfortunately.
Well, what do you think is going to happen this year? It's off season now. Oh, no, it's the playoffs just started. So we're just kind of waiting around to see what's going on with that. And then what's your predictions or?
I mean, it feels like it's the Astros again. I mean, that also could just be my biased nature of hating the Yankees. I mean, they're great and all, but I don't know. It just seems like their pitching isn't going to be able to stand up against the Astros. The Astros have everything. But at the same time, I guess you would say that the Astros probably have the most pressure because they have so many weapons on that team. So, that's going to be a build up to the end there, and we'll see. I think it'll be a good series. I would assume that it's going to be Yankees-Astros battling to get into the World Series, and then from there, one of those teams will probably win it, as far as from what I've seen. But just the other teams, like I don't know if you watched any of the two wildcard play-in games a little bit there. It was like the Washington Nationals against the Brewers. The Nationals, they kind of stinked, and then they pulled it out at the end, which was terrible for me because I bet on the Brewers, of course. I don't know if you saw that ending, but that was terrible. But the Nationals don't look too great. The rest of the squads over in the NL don't look great. And then on top of it, they have to deal with the whole not having a DH thing, which always screws them over once you get to the World Series. So I just feel like it's probably going to be the Astros, probably going to be a Yankees, Astros, ALCS, and then Astros probably win it.
All right. That's a great take. Let's move on to the Bruins. This is where I'm least knowledgeable, but I did just hear we signed the new coach for 3 more years. Where are you?
Yes. Bruce Cassidy, great coach. Think that's a great move. I think it's 3 years, $3 million apiece, something like that. I think he's a huge step up from Claude Julien. He plays the young kids. He tries different things on the power play, which is awesome and refreshing from what we used to have, where it was just Claude Julien being like, no, I have my system. I'm only using my old veteran guys in this situation. I don't care if we don't score any goals. We're going to win every game 1-0.
And the games I remember watching, I'd always turn on. It's like Bruins power play. And like, oh, sweet. Yeah. I'll stick here for a second. Nothing happens.
Nothing. Yeah, it's brutal. So the power play immediately stepped up since Cassidy has moved in to that position. That's been huge for us. Last year was a miracle run where we just everything fell into place, and it kind of sucked to blow it at the end because I mean, in all honesty, we're not going to get that kind of a run again this year. You're going to probably have to go through a Tampa Bay Lightning team that's going to be stacked and also pissed off that they lost last year. So it's going to be a really tough road, I think. I don't see us being able to get back to the Stanley Cup, especially because we didn't make any moves to improve the team. We basically just brought back the same exact team. Yeah, we have a lot of young players that need to step up and take that next jump, and maybe that'll happen. But I don't know. It doesn't feel like we're being set up to be like a first round exit, disappointing season type of thing here.
Wow. What's the Garden like at a Bruins game, and how it's probably different for Fenway?
Yeah, I would say for a Bruins game, it's pretty good. I mean, the nature of hockey, though, it's tough to be constantly excited and pumped up at all times because it's very fast paced back and forth, and there's not a lot of scoring. So it's it's exciting, but I would definitely say it's better utilized. The Garden's better utilized when the Celtics are in there. People get hyped up for the Celtics, but again, that's like constant scoring, constant big plays happening. With the Bruins, don't get me wrong, the place is hopping, but it's not the same atmosphere because of the style of game that's played.
Okay. All right. I now have this in the notes. I want to tell you about Xanadu. Do you know who Xanadu is?
I do. I do know who he is. Yes, I do.
I know Xanadu personally.
Okay. All right.
I worked with him once. We'll talk off air.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's move on to the Celtics. We're still in the Garden. I, for one, am glad flat earther Kyrie is gone. Where are you at?
Yep. This one is a tough topic for me because I actually took the Kyrie side of things, and I wanted him to work out desperately for this team. I was from the standpoint that, like, I don't have to listen to him in the press conferences. I don't really care what he has to say. As long as you can get in between those lines and play some really good basketball and be the superstar that you're supposed to be, I don't really give a crap what you're going to say, afterwards at the press conference about whatever your weird thoughts are. I don't really care. It's a league where it's driven by superstars. You need to have superstars. If you don't have superstars, you're not going to get that far. You're going to be the Atlanta Hawks every year. You're going to, it's going to look really cool when you're a good team and you get first place and then you get bounced in the second round every time. That's basically how it's going to go.
Yeah. The Celtics, especially with Brad, what's his last name? Brad
Stevens.
Two first names. With Brad,
I know, right?
He seems to kind of stay away from that. With the squad we got this year, besides Kemba's not super, but he's up there. Like, I think he's a 3-time All-Star.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely not a tier 1. He's barely maybe in that tier, probably like a tier 3 type of player, I would say.
But the guys around him are like, they could be Kemba. I feel like my favorite guy is Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, I mean, hey, what do you think of the new haircut for him?
I haven't seen it yet.
He shaved off the flat top. He's got like a buzz cut now.
He's all grown
business. He means business now. That's the sign.
I also have a hard time though, and I know he's so good with Jason Tatum. When he hit that shot over LeBron last year, I was like, I love this guy now.
Dunking on, yeah.
His problem is that he went to Duke, and I absolutely hate Duke University with all of my heart and soul. And if I ever saw Christian Laettner in person, I would punch him in the face. I was. I'll tell you the stories. We're doing sports. I was 9. I was 9 years old. I was in Kentucky when this happened, and the family watching. And first of all, you might know this. Christian Laettner stepped on somebody's head a couple minutes before that. No call.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went on to make some dumb shot. And so that's kind of why I don't like Jason Williams.
That's fair.
JJ Redick. Is that his name? Redick,
yeah.
Redick and Jason Tatum, but I guess I can deal with him if he's on the
They all kind of have that like pompous a-hole kind of nature to them as well. And even Jason Tatum, I can see it. He's already doing that thing. I mean, you're so young and you're complaining about calls every single time you go. Like, dude, I love you and you're on the team and
Coach
everything.
Size, man.
But I mean, to complain about every single call when you're still like a sophomore in the league kind of thing. It's like, come on, man, you got to calm down.
And I love me some Rajon Rondo. And Antoine Walker.
Oh, yeah.
I had an Antoine Walker Kentucky jersey when I was a kid.
Jeez, all right. Yeah. Well, did you get any Celtics ones? Because now you can reuse that Antoine Walker number 8 for Kemba. There you go.
Right. Oh yeah, I'll go shopping.
Kemba Walker. Yeah.
So I'm pumped for this season. Probably more than last year. I'm hoping Gordon Hayward really steps up his game even more. Dude, were you watching that game? Was it 2 years ago?
The injury game?
Yes.
Oh no, I can't. Like, I knew immediately that something happened. And I'm a big.
I heard it. I heard
injuries,
it happen.
Ooh, I can't do that stuff. That stuff makes me cringe all the time. That's like, I can't. So it looked weird, and I immediately like turned away. And it was like talking to my buddy. I'm like, dude, that he just like broke his ankle. What just happened? Don't just tell me. I'm not looking.
I was watching it. I heard like a pop. Like it sounded like somebody threw something onto the onto the hardwood.
Yep.
And then the announcer goes, I think Gordon Hayward broke his leg. And so what I did, I appreciated from this myself. I thought it was going to be like one of those compound fractures through the skin stuff. So I was like, I eased myself into it. And then I saw his foot turn the other way.
Oh, yeah. I would say that's up there with top 3 worst NBA injuries or basketball injuries, I would say. I don't know if you know of the other major ones. You got the Paul George going into the stanchion underneath the hoop there. And then the worst one of all time that I still have not seen to this day because I refuse. And I heard about it and I refused to do it. The Kevin Ware in college basketball. Did you ever see that one?
I've heard of it. It rings a bell.
Don't even look into it. It's disgusting.
I won't even do it.
It's terrible.
So I'm excited to see what Gordon's going to do. And I'm hoping Jaylen Brown turns into like something of his own rather than just being that good kid over there.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think with Kemba throwing the ball around more than Kyrie probably did, I think we'll have maybe a better shot. We'll see.
Well, yeah, that's the only thing is, I mean, and I hope that he buys into the system and everything like that. But when he was on the Hornets, he was it's like, give him the ball, get out of the way. He's going to take a bunch of shots. I think he averaged 20 shots a game last year or something like that, 22 shots a game. He needs the ball. He's the pick and roll guy. He's going to have the ball in his hands. You set the pick for him. He's going to decide what happens with the play. So hopefully he can, jump into the team atmosphere. He seems to be, he says all the right things. Don't get me wrong. I love it. Saying all the right things, but is it going to work? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll find out. We traded Aaron, what's his name?
Aaron Baines.
Yeah, we traded him away.
Yeah. So we don't, I mean,
who do we got big setting the picks for him then?
Right. So we need bigs, but I mean, hopefully Robert Williams, Time Lord, can get going there for us. We also have Taco Fall. I don't know if you've seen that guy. He's like 7'7" foot center. Really? Yeah. Check him out sometime. He's goofy. I don't know if he's actually going to make the squad. If he is, he'll probably just be an end of the bench kind of guy. But he seems to have a few moves here and there, so that'll be interesting. But you get rid of Al Horford. Who do we even have for bigs anymore? We got Enes Kanter now, but
yeah. That's who I'm most afraid of is Horford in the 76ers, I think.
Oh man, I'm a huge Al Horford guy. That one hurt losing him.
Yeah. The East is huge. Bucks.
Yep.
76ers. Who did the Knicks get? Knicks? No, Nets.
Yeah, the Nets are going to be big, obviously, once they get Durant back. That's going to be huge, and that's going to be right in our face all the time. You got the Bucks, the Sixers. I think once Oladipo comes back, the Pacers are going to be pretty legit. There's some good teams. Obviously not as good as the West, but the East is starting to build up, I would say. Also, you got Jimmy Butler down on Miami now, and I've heard a bunch of rumors of Chris Paul being traded over to Miami eventually too. So it may be Chris Paul and Jimmy Butler in Miami. So then now you got to contend with them as well.
They sound like old school NBA Jam teams.
I know, right? Just get the two guys together and then let's go. Yeah, I mean, that's, Westbrook and Harden now together.
And Clyde Drexler.
You got all the duos around.
Right.
Duos.
Well, so what do you think the Celtics are going to do this year?
I mean, the easy take would just to say, like, we're probably going to do better than we did last year, but that's not really saying much. You only win one game in the second round. Like, that's going to be, I would assume, easy to get to, like, later in the second round or get into the conference finals. I do think that, we've had the Sixers number for years now, but now with Al Horford, that might change. So, I think that we're definitely going to go, a good battle in the second round, depending on who we're matched up with, maybe conference finals appearance. I still don't know if that's going to get you to the finals, though. For us, we'll see how it goes. But if I was to predict, honestly, I would say you're probably good battle in the second round and out again. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but that's how I feel.
I've recently I've watched college basketball most of my life, but since I moved here. And then Rajon was on the team. I started watching, and I realized that the NBA is just different. It's a different game, and it's more about matchups. It's kind of like the NFL. It's more about matchups and what you can do against that guy. And I used to get so bored. Like, I think I just throw it up, everybody watches, and by halfway up, everybody turns around, starts.
No, it's
it's a different pace and it's a different rhythm to the game.
It is.
It's reminds me of is watching college hockey versus the NHL. I've noticed that's huge too. So
the difference in the level. Yeah.
I'll be following closely this year. So speaking of the NFL, let's go to my fave, my dear. Right. So I moved here in 2008.
Okay. So, right in time for the Celtics championship. Nice.
Yes. But right in time for the Patriots to lose a couple times.
Yes. Well, yes.
I didn't get mine until 2013.
Okay. All right.
So that one was mine. It's the one special in my heart. So let's talk Pats. I was just telling you off air that I listened to your last show. You were talking about the Buffalo Bills. What did you get right? What did you get wrong?
When it came to Buffalo Bills, I went with my gambling picks. I went Pats to cover the 7 points, and then the under. The under was great, 42.5. I think that was easy. But Steven Gostkowski really screwed me over on that extra point.
Dude, did you see that they worked out somebody else today?
Yep. So, they signed a kicker. They signed Mike Nugent there. Yeah. So and then they put some other kid on the practice squad. I forget his name. Something Koo, I believe is the last name. However you pronounce that.
Yeah. So Gostkowski's not really putting together for you. So what I was excited when I was hearing your take on Antonio Clown. I was hoping to get your summarized take on that, and that's when I really started listening to your show. And especially your theory. Can you give my listeners your theory on that?
He's just an idiot. He's an idiot. That's the end all be all take on that one is he's an idiot. I was against it in the beginning. It just didn't seem like it was ever going to work.
Do you think it was all Bill?
What's that?
Do you think it was all Bill Belichick?
No, I don't. I think it was the whole team, getting together. If you think that Bob Kraft didn't have or knowledge of what was going on with his own team, I think you're crazy. All those different things that came out, and it was Brady was saying to Kraft or somebody like, I'm in 100%, I'm in 1,000,000%, all that stuff. So it's like it was known that they were going to be getting this player. For them to come out afterwards and act like, oh, no, it was all Bill Belichick working on his own there, that's crazy to me. That's not going to happen in this team. So I get that the Patriots always need to save face and look like they were like, no, we wouldn't. If I had known about that, no, I wouldn't have done that. I get that that's what they're trying to do for the PR standpoint. But come on, are you really does anyone actually believe that they didn't know what was going on and they didn't think they could just pull one over everybody and just be like, no, it'll be fine. Well, just act like we didn't know if it happens.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I was at with that one. But yeah, he was, idiot. So I don't know. From the beginning, it didn't seem like it was going to be a smart thing to do because the guy was just kept doing stupid things over and over and it kept progressing. And it was like, do you really think you're going to be able to hide this even with the whole Patriot mantra? And they stopped letting him do press conferences after that first game that he played and stuff like that so that he would shut up and not say anything. And then he still just was doing nonsense. The group text messages alone was just like the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Crazy.
In any other situation, he would just not make it in life.
I just he's lucky that he's made millions so far because I don't think that he's going to play in the NFL again. Why would anyone go through that headache anymore? This guy clearly can't even stay on the field. And I did allude to this a little bit in my podcast there about the fact that, ever since that 2017 Vontaze Burfict hit, he's been crazy since then. So I hope that it's nothing to do with a mental issue or anything like that. I would never want to make any fun of anybody for doing that type of thing, but he's gone crazy since that moment. And it just seems like he just keeps outdoing himself somehow, which makes no sense to me.
Right. Well, we won't see much of Vontaze Burfict this year.
Right. Yep. That's another one. Yeah.
What you think about that Dolphins game?
I
heard you were talking a little bit about why is Brady still in? Why is Brady still in? And Bill seems kind of vengeful. The Dark Lord will have his revenge.
Yeah, it just and I thought that Miami was going to cover that game. I thought that they were going to cover the 19 points just because I thought all the things that added up. Usually Belichick doesn't go and embarrass his former assistant coaches, at least the ones that he likes, and didn't screw him over in any sense. So though, having that standpoint there, and then just we usually don't play good in Miami when it's warm weather,
especially when it's at the end of the year when we go down
exactly.
There.
Yep. So it just seemed like that, but yeah, it seemed like he was preaching, 60 minutes of football. We're playing all the way through to the end, all that stuff, but just pump the brakes a little bit. We don't need Brady going out there and, getting hurt or something. That's the whole season right there. What are you doing? Yeah. So I don't know. And then the following week you go and play the Jets and they decide to take him out at one point and put in Stidham, and Stidham throws a pick and they throw him right back in. The thought process has been weird to me.
Well, this week is the Redskins. I grew up a Redskins fan in Maryland. And
I saw that. Yep.
There's a song and everything.
Oof. Hail to the Redskins,
yeah,
right?
And I, when I was in high school, it was the Gus Frerotte years. That was a shame.
All right. Ouch.
But these are the kind of games we just wouldn't watch.
Yeah. What do you think about it? Haskins, you high on him or?
I'm not. Nobody's high on any quarterbacks in the Washington Redskins. Ever since Mark Brunell. No, who? Mark Rippon.
Oh,
Mark Rippon.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You guys have not had great luck.
That's about it.
Comes to that, yeah. Other than that, it's just been not great for you. But yeah, and then Case Keenum's now hurt. It seems. Yep. Walking boots. So what? You're going to have Colt McCoy going for the Redskins this week, and oh boy,
against our amazing secondary.
Yep, exactly.
Probably the best one I think we've had in, I'd say, 10 years.
It's definitely up there. I think that Gilmore is right up there with, if not better than Darrell Revis when he was here. And, he's one of our better cornerbacks that we've had. I wouldn't put anyone on the level of Ty Law, but, no. Gilmore is really, he's great. He's great.
Yeah. And McCourty's interceptions, one or two of them was just like fly balls.
Yeah.
But he was in the right place at the right time, and he's hustling. So I like McCourty.
Player of the month. They gave him Player of the Month honors for that.
And I'm so pumped for Slater.
I know, right? I'm a big Slater guy too. I always battle with all my buddies about Slater because I just I love the guy, and I love how it pisses everyone off too.
What? How do you not like Matthew Slater?
Oh man, it's all the things about why are you keeping Matthew Slater when you can't bring in another wide receiver that's actually going to help the team, blah blah blah, all this other stuff. Why are you still paying Matthew Slater $2 million or whatever it is that he gets? And I'm like, come on, man, look at how he interviews.
Great. And if you ever watch their, Bill after the game is always like, "Good job, guys. The 3 phases of the game really stepped up there, McCourty." D-Mac, and all right, well, it's no days off. We'll see you on Tuesday. and then AC Slater, Matt Slater comes up and he's just like riled everybody. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
you're the one that gets people feeling feelings about games, not that robot man.
Get his glasses on. He looks real studious, and he just gets up in front of those cameras and mics, and he goes. I love it.
What do you? What's your prediction for at least Sunday?
Sunday. I'm probably going to do what I've been doing with all the Patriots games so far. We're taking the under. I think it's 41.5 points, just because that defense, like you said, that secondary is great. Nobody's been able to go up to it, stand against it. Now you're talking about Colt McCoy, maybe. That's not going to be great. I would say it's an easy 2 touchdown win for them, probably somewhere in the realm of a 30-7 type of game there. Honestly, that's really what I'm feeling.
Right. The last Patriots game I went to was the last time they played the Redskins here, and it was when John Lewis got hurt.
Yeah.
So that stadium is wild. That's where your family, let's go get a hot dog. That's where they should go.
Yeah, right.
It's a lot of that.
Yeah. It's an interesting one there for sure.
How many have you been to?
Actually not as many, because if I was to be honest, my least favorite sport to watch in person would be football.
It is. It is the worst sport to watch in person.
It's brutal. I've probably been to 10 games, I would say, around 10 games. So nothing crazy there, but I would rather be on my couch in front of my own TV with my own bathroom, ready to watch. I don't want to be out in the weather. I don't want to be in the snow, the rain, any of that nonsense, which you get all the time in New England.
Right.
And you can't see the everything that's going on. The TV cameras do a lot better of focusing in on certain things that are going on. So I feel like you miss out on a lot.
And the timeouts, you're just like, what's going on? Why are we all just standing around?
Yeah, it's brutal. So I don't really like that that atmosphere going to a football game. It doesn't really work out that great.
Yeah. The first one or two games, my thing was, we are going to lose to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. No. I've changed my mind.
All right.
If things keep going the way they are, I'm going to have to put in for February 3rd off.
Yeah, well, hey, I mean, the other thing is the Chiefs have a ton of bad karma with keeping Tyreek Hill on that team. That guy is a huge scumbag, and I just don't think that's going to come back and bite them in the butt at the end. We may not have a bunch of offensive weapons to stay up with them. Our defense is great, though, and I think they got bad karma on their side.
That other guy's really good. Donaldson, the new guy.
Donaldson.
He's like two or three down from Watkins. Anyway, yeah.
Robinson, I think.
Robinson, thank you.
Yeah. He's not bad. They've been basically plug and play with a lot of their positions there. They keep bringing in different running backs named Williams, and they all just seem to work. That seems to be a good job for them. And then, I mean, obviously they're great offensively. Defensively, they're not really, unless they go out and get like a Jalen Ramsey or something, I'm not really afraid of that defense. So I think that our defense is going to be able to hold them really good, and we should be able to figure them out. So.
Yeah, I can't think of it. I can't think of anybody in the AFC is going to give us more trouble than the Chiefs.
No, at this point, everybody else is falling apart. The Steelers obviously don't have their quarterback anymore. Everyone else is just not good. I don't see. There's really, I mean, who else is it? It's maybe like the Bills, I guess, but they have no offense, and we just proved that they're not going to be anything. Who are you afraid of, though? I can't think of literally any other team, honestly, to be afraid of, or even a little bit.
Usually the Ravens turn it around. I'm always afraid to play the Ravens in the playoffs, but
I just fully expect Bill to be able to shut down Lamar Jackson completely, and it's not going to be an issue there. They just can't. They proved over the last couple of weeks that their offense isn't even as great as we thought it was out the first two games. So we'll see how that goes.
February 3rd, please let me stay home. Thank you. It's always a rough day, especially I'm a teacher, right? So coming in after the Super Bowl is rough. You got to be on.
It's going to be it should be a national holiday. That should be the day after the Super Bowl should be another national
President's
holiday.
Day to it.
Right, yeah, do something like that. We got to figure something out to make.
Or the
that
NFL could just move it to that.
That might be, right.
Put 4 games in, you could fit it right in right there.
Somebody's got. Well, yeah, that's what they want to do now is add a bunch of games, right? So somebody's got to figure something out, get a day off after the Super Bowl because come on, everybody's going to watch it, even if you're not a football fan.
Right,
watch it.
They still watch it, and then those commercials in the fourth quarter where people are not turning it off because they have to go to work in the morning. That would probably be a little moneymaker there. So. Well, let's wrap up. I want to wrap up by telling you my theory about sports talk. I believe that anybody that can do sports talk well, like yourself, and especially here in New England, because we're all so serious about it, and we have very hardcore competing sports talk radio shows.
Yeah.
You're either them or them, right?
Right.
But my theory on sports talk is that I believe it is the most well-rounded academic and intellectual exercise one can do. Hear me out. Yeah. You got to know statistics. You got to be able to look at, analyze statistics. You got to be able to look at and analyze the emotional state of other people, like I did with Matthew Slater. You got to be able to make predictions, like we've been doing. And you got to be able to read and express yourself with words appropriately and clearly, so that if you even want to make sense or make something out of it, you got to be able to do all those things. All the school subjects come into sports talk radio. I feel like I need a whole class on this or something, but I get in there.
Zach, you might have something there.
Yeah, Zach, tell us about your podcast and where we can listen and where we can get you on social media.
All right. So my podcast is The Clap Trap. It is. I put out an episode every week on Thursday usually. For that, you can hear that basically anywhere you can find podcasts. So it goes through SoundCloud out to everything from Spotify to iTunes, to all those things. You can go ahead and follow along there. Tune on in. Also follow me on social media at Zach Clapp, ZACKCLAPP. Me and my awesome last name there. And as you can see, I got the red hair too. So I had a really cool upbringing there with those two things going for me. That was awesome. So follow me on Twitter there. I also have a Twitter account for the podcast too that you can get through that, my personal one there. And every week podcasting, staying up to date on the sports teams.
Yeah, I love it. I'm a faithful listener as well, and I'll put a link to his show in my show notes as well, and a link to his social media. All right, let's wrap it up with more New England. Zach, lightning round.
Okay.
Not Tampa Bay lightning, just regular lightning. Have you ever tapped trees for maple syrup?
No, I have not.
Have you ever went ice fishing?
I have not, actually. No, I
really
have not.
Want to. Apparently, you're supposed to drink beer when you do it.
Yeah, that seems like it would be a fun time. Maybe you tap some maple syrup too, and then you have some pancakes and that, and then some beer, and then you go fishing, and then
and you stumble home. We talked about how many games we've been to. Have you ever went snowmobiling?
I have been snowmobiling once before. I am usually not the type that plays around with toys and things like that, but it's a good time. It's fun. Any of those snow activities are usually a good time as long as you're bundled up enough and you don't worry about getting too cold. Yeah.
You ever seen a ghost?
No, I do not believe in ghosts.
You ever said wicked pissa?
I like to think that I don't have too much of a Boston accent, so I have not. I definitely said wicked, but not wicked pissa. I've never used that, at least seriously. Maybe I've done it in a joking manner, but I don't do that.
When both my kids at one point both used wicked as an adjective, I was so proud.
Hey, that's you got to. If you want to be from around here, you got to be able to throw in wicked every once in a while.
How do you take your Dunkin' Donuts coffee?
It's a funny thing. I actually don't drink coffee. Crazy, right? I don't drink coffee. But as I mentioned before off air there, I'm a personal trainer, so I'm big on the health and everything like that. Right. I eventually feel like I will get into coffee, maybe like just straight black coffee for the health benefits of caffeine. I don't know. Yeah. But I'm actually not a coffee guy.
We're breaking stereotypes here, folks. That's what we do here on Pilgrim Talks. Very good. You ever been to the White Mountains in New Hampshire?
I have not, actually. I would love to go there. I go up to Lake Winnipesaukee, though, all the time in the summer. I am spoiled. I'm a spoiled jerk. I got grandparents who have a cottage up on Lake Winnipesaukee, so I go up there every summer. Love that place. I actually have not been on there. I need to do a little bit more trails and hiking and things like that. That's what I should get up there and do.
All right, and the last question I ask everybody, would you ever move away from New England? What would make you do that, and where would you go if you had to?
The simple answer is no, just because I can't be that far away from my sports teams. I just can't do it. I physically don't think I could do it. But also the other things and the things that you're supposed to say first is obviously family and friends and everything like that are around. I obviously don't think that I could do it from that. It would be nice to get away from Massachusetts for a little bit. That would be cool to be able to not have to do all of that nonsense. But I don't know. Everybody seems to move down to Florida at some point when they live here too. That's the other big thing. But I just don't think I could be that far away from my sports teams, to be honest with you.
You said it, man. I feel that. All right. Well, it was great having you on. We're going to link your show in my show notes. And you know what? I think I'd like to have you back come NFL playoffs.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. Thank you very much for having me on.
Like all right. Thanks for being on. We'll talk to you later.
All right, man. See ya.